Renegade Immortal, Chapter 590, Words that Evoke Laws. Hello, welcome back to my channel, Books with AR. The Xuan Vice Commander-in-Chief thought, what isn't impossible? As long as it is that Wang Lin, what isn't impossible? He let out a sigh. If it wasn't for the fact that he was too arrogant and had underestimated Wang Lin like everyone else here, he wouldn't still be injured right now. Aside from the Heaven Commander-in-Chief, the other Commanders-in-Chiefs all stood up and their eyes were like sharp swords as they stared at Wang Lin. Waves of shock and disbelief appeared in their hearts. The vice commanders-in-chief below them were all completely stunned, and their hearts trembled violently as they stared at Wang Lin. It has to be said, there were people here we could ring it 5 times. There were even people who could ring it 5 times in a row. But the shock wave created when the 5 rings fused into one could be described as heaven-shaking. This kind of violent backlash was not something a demon general could withstand. Even the genius demon general, Mo Fei, could only withstand 3 in a row. If there was a 4th, he would without a doubt lose. Yet Wang Lin was able to ring it 5 times in a row. If the combined shockwave was able to seriously injure Wang Lin or make him retreat in a sorry state, then people might have been willing to reluctantly accept it. However, this person didn't even move at all. He floated next to the demon drum as if he hadn't rang it himself. Or it was as if he was hitting a normal drum, as there wasn't any rebound at all. How is this possible? I'm not mistaken, right? He just casually rang it 5 times? There must be a problem here. This cultivator must have used some underhanded method. Yu Sen spent painstaking effort to ring it 4 times, yet this person just casually rang it 5 times? However, Mo Fei was about to ring it 8 times, and this person definitely can't do more than that. Endless cries of shock came from the crowd. They weren't unfamiliar with Wang Lin's figure. A few days ago, he was the first person to seriously injure a demon general, engraving his figure into people's minds. However, these ministers, ladies, and various officials of the Sky Demon City didn't think that Wang Lin was that strong. In their eyes, the key reason why Ao Di lost and was seriously injured was because Ao Di was too weak. This Wang Lin, if he had encountered people like Mo Fei or Shi Xiao, then he would without a doubt have lost. This was something everyone was very confident about. However, now this Wang Lin, who they disliked a lot, was able to ring the drum 5 times in almost a trivial manner. This scene shocked everyone. Some people even suspected that the demon drum was broken, but they realized they were wrong after seeing that some of the people around them were seriously injured or knocked out, and the demonic spiritual energy in their own bodies was going crazy. The feeling of their demonic spiritual energy almost being shocked out of their bodies immediately dismissed the idea that the demon drum was broken. Also, the cracked square with the demon drum at the center showed just how powerful the impact from before was. To be able to create such destruction on a square reinforced with countless restrictions could only be described as unbelievable. Almost all of the commanders-in-chief sucked in breaths of cold air. Yu Sen bitterly smiled and shook his head and completely gave up the idea of battling Wang Lin. The only female demon general, Shi Lian, was wearing full-body armor. Although it was full-body armor, it was still extremely revealing, so it showed off her beautiful curves. Her purple gauntlet revealed her pearly white arms. Her top covered her 2 peaks and revealed her slender waist. A black tattoo started from her snow-white neck, went down through her chest, and extended to her waist. Her lower armor were armored leaf blades that circled around her, covering up her plump butt, and her pair of yite legs had greaves covering them. She gave off a feeling of heroic beauty. This woman was wearing a helmet that covered her face. Only her beautiful eyes could be seen, and they were shining brightly as she looked at Wang Lin. Among the demon generals, Xiao's eyes lit up as he carefully looked at Wang Lin. Chen Tao softly whispered, "I have already said that this person is extremely strong." Xiao let out a cold snort and didn't say a word, but his expression darkened. Among the demon generals, only Mo Fei didn't look at Wang Lin. Instead, he silently watched the distant horizon. The Dao Lo sword sect cultivators stared at Wang Lin with undisguised killing intent. Among all this noise, the golden-armored man's expression was extremely ugly. He looked at the demon drum, and his hands clenched tightly into a fist. Wang Lin withdrew his right hand from the drum before turning around and looking at the golden-armored man. All of the noise stopped as he turned around, and all of their gazes gathered on Wang Lin. Wang Lin pointed at the golden-armored man and calmly said, "You lost." The rebound force from beating the drum earlier was blocked by the life seals around Wang Lin, but the rebound was extremely powerful, so it took over 2,000 layers of life seals before this power was completely neutralized. The seals couldn't be destroyed unless all 3,000 plus seals were destroyed in an instant. Otherwise, they would recover. This was the true strength of the life seals. No wonder that gray-robed all-seer said that he had 1,000,000,000 life seals and that he would be perfectly fine if planet Tai-Yun exploded. A spell with this kind of defense power is extremely rare. After the golden-armored man heard Wang Lin's words, his expression turned even uglier. He let out a cold snort and said, "I said you could not exceed 5 rings. Are you a fool that can't understand the meaning of my words? You rang it 5 times, and it hasn't exceeded 5, so it is not your win." After he said that, some of the people in the stands felt that this golden-armored chief steward's morals were too low. Wang Lin shot a cold look at the golden-armored man, then his right hand formed a fist and hit the demon drum behind him. Dung! The 6th ring came from the drum and echoed across the square. This ring from the bell caused everyone's hearts to skip a beat. A powerful rebound force suddenly emerged from Demon Drum, as if there was a powerful gust of wind blowing Wang Lin's hair back. The already shattered square immediately began to shake once more, as if there was a giant dragon moving underneath it. Wang Lin's right hand didn't stop, as he coldly looked at the golden-armored man, whose expression was even gloomier, and punched with his right fist once more. Dung! The 7th sound from the drum echoed across the sky. If the first 6 rings of the demon drum could be considered raging waves, then the 7th ring from the bell could be considered a flash flood. Demon General Mo Fei could ring it 6 times without being injured, but on the 7th time, he was forced back, and his armor was shattered to pieces. This shows just how powerful the rebound from the 7th ring was. The 7th ring sounded, and at this moment, the sky changed color. A storm gathered with the demon drum as the center and began to spread like crazy. Wang Lin's right hand was motionless, and he stood up straight in the air. His right hand was still touching the demon drum as his gaze fell on the golden-armored man. This 7th ring caused thunderous rumbling sounds to occur in the sky, and Wang Lin's voice slowly came out of these thunderous rumbles. 7 times now. The golden-armored man's face twitched as he stared at Wang Lin and said, "I'll recommend you to the Demon Emperor." Wang Lin shook his head and calmly said, "I want one of your hands." "You dare?" the golden-armored man shouted loudly. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he shouted, "Say that again?" "I want one of your hands." At the moment Wang Lin's voice came out, his right hand hit the demon drum again. Dung! The 8th ring from the drum spread out like tens of thousands of waves. This ring echoed with Wang Lin's words and began to spread like crazy in all directions. "I want one of your hands." At this moment, it was as if that was the only sound left in this world. This was because Wang Lin had used the power of the 8th ring from the demon drum to affect the heavens. Thunderous roars echoed in the sky, as if the sky was about to collapse. Among the deafening, rumbling sounds, that sentence felt like it wasn't said by Wang Lin, but by the heavens, the earth. It was like a roar from the world, as if God had opened his eyes to look over the land. This sound represented the world. The heavens and earth fused with the sound of the drum to form that sentence. Although that sentence wasn't as loud as thunder, it was more shocking. This unimaginable force caused the golden-armored man's face to suddenly turn pale. He involuntarily took a few steps back, his ears buzzed, and his face turned deathly pale. At that moment, he had the illusion that he was facing the world. The demonic spiritual energy inside his body went crazy, and he even had a trace of an impulse to cut off his own arm. The surrounding people were all shocked. They no longer had the courage to talk like before, so the entire square was abnormally quiet. Aside from a few select individuals among the spectators, everyone else knew without a doubt that if Wang Lin had said that to them just now, they would have cut off their own arms. That sound just now was the might of the heavens. That sound just now was law, the majestic and dominating words from the heavens. Among the demon generals, Mo Fei moved his gaze away from the sky and onto Wang Lin for the first time. Among the commander-in-chiefs, aside from the heaven commander-in-chief who hadn't looked at Wang Lin, the other 7's expressions changed slightly. Their eyes revealed mysterious lights as they looked at Wang Lin. Words that evoke law. The 7 commander-in-chiefs looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. None of them noticed that at the moment that voice came, the heaven commander-in-chief's always closed eyes opened slightly and revealed a hint of confusion. Among the vice commander-in-chiefs, the yellow vice commander-in-chief was completely startled, and the Xian vice commander-in-chief let out a sigh. The golden-armored man's face was completely pale, but he quickly recovered. He stared at Wang Lin and slowly said, "Your voice fused with the power of the drum and thus borrowed the power of the heavens. Unfortunately, you borrowed the power of the demon drum. If you could achieve words that evoke law with your own strength, then forget about my arms. Even if you wanted my life, I'd willingly hand it over."